I wanted it. I paid the price for it. And I've received it. But in the level of the animal soul, I'm very sad. And I expect to stay sad. What I'm going to relate to myself here is my highest levels of things. I'm studying Hulin now, and it's about Shehita. And for me, there's a parallel between the horizontal cutting of the knife with the knife in the Shehita and the horizontal mezuzah of Rabbeinu Tam. Remember, Rashi has the vertical mezuzah. Rabbeinu Tam wanted the horizontal mezuzah. The vertical mezuzah for me is the nehira, the stabbing and the pulling. And the horizontal mezuzah is the shehita of the neck. And for me, this neck is where the mezuzah is in relation to a standing body. So at the neck, there's a horizontal slicing of the standing body, so to speak. And this horizontal, because the halakha is it has to be 1/3 in the upper third of the body, of the doorpost, and parallel about to the shoulders. Well, that's what this is. But the shoulders also are the level of the Birkat Kohanim, which is of the same type of relationships. The gematria of Shaddai itself, which is the mezuzah, is 314. If you add the 3 letters, you get 317, and that's Shechet. Now, for me, I am transitioning from a vegetarian to a fruitarian. Because to me, a vegetarian is domesticated. Because a vegetarian has to take the vegetables from the ground. Now, so you have to like grow the vegetables, you know. A tree, you just take the fruit off the tree, and the tree still exists. The vegetable, you have to eat its entire root, and so it actually is it's dead. This transition for me back into more primitive times, more, that's the way it was in Gan Eden. They had trees. And as people left Gan Eden, they became more domesticated. All the rules became domestication. The domestication of the house and the food, because shehita is of animals. And you have to have domestic animals. And after you kill the animal, no matter how merciful you are, you have to cook the animal. This cooking is a development of domestication. That is a certain sense why I believe that women are permitted to shehita, because it's a recognition of the domestication of the entire enterprise, because women represent this domestication. They represent the bet, the bayit, the house. Bayit, it sounds like a woman, bayit. In the same way, a woman has to drain her blood, for menstrual cycle, drain it out to be tahor, pure for intercourse. There's the same way one has to kashrut a meat, drain the blood out of a meat. It's a whole domestication process. I'm reading these things that I wrote this morning down here. And the upper third of the doorpost has the Holy of Holies. And then now there's this same relationship between the Shaddai of the mezuzah and the tefillin. I mean, I'm not the first to make this, but the tefillin block itself is the Holy of Holies, the Kodesh Kodeshim. And that has the shin on it, 2 shins actually, then the dalet in the back, and the yud on the arm. And this arm tefillin goes about, the chest level, heart level, and this is all the upper torso, and that even the girdle is just on the rib level. So everything above is really, in a certain sense, the Holy of Holies, including the block on the tefillin arm, because that has the yud. So the whole thing is Shaddai. So when you're walking in through a door with the tefillin, with the mezuzah on the door and the tefillin on, it's Shaddai, and Shaddai, that's 2 shins, and 2 dalets. And the yud wrapped in your finger in the hand, and the yud on the arm. And this idea of domestication is staying with me here, because that's the reason that the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin is written Yud Hey. These 4 parshas inside there are Yud Hey, Hey Yud, Hey Vav. The Vav and the Hey are hipuk. They're flipped. So the Rabbeinu, the Rashi tefillin are Yud Hey Vav Hey, and the Rabbeinu Tam tefillin Yud Hey Hey Vav. The woman goes above the man, and when this happens, that's the horizontal slicing of the domestication, and theoretically that's what's on the mezuzah. That same thing for the Rabbeinu Tam. That horizontal, that represents how the ark is placed in the temple, where they had the Torah scrolls and the 10 Commandments horizontal in the ark, and that's what this represents. This shechita for me, and the horizontal Rabbeinu Tam mezuzah. And so all these things, now I've made this distinction here between the Kodeshim and the Kodesh place. And the Kodesh Kodeshim is a 20 by 20 by 20 cube, which is the cube. That cube, that's the Holy of Holies, and that comes in as the Kaaba in Islam. But the idea that we have the cube, that represents the Holy of Holies. And below it, the holy place, is, well, the 20 for the Holy of Holies is 20 long, and then below, it's 20 by 40. So it's 40 long. So it's one, and then it's a double. So the double is 40, the holy place, that's below. And the Kodesh Kodeshim is 1/3. So 1/3 of your body, just like in the doorway for the mezuzah, goes on the top third. Because that's the Kodesh Kodeshim. And below, it's 2/3. Because it's 20 and 40. That's total of 60. And 20 is 1/3 of the 40 below, of the 60, and the 2/3 is below. And that's the same with the body. And I think the elbow kind of like goes to the third. And so the tefillin on the lower part of the muscle there and goes into the heart. So this is the upper third of the body. And then below, 2/3, and that's the regular holy place. So the upper third. And that's also what you call whole and a half. Whole and a half means whole and a half. That's a complete. So the whole is the 40, so to speak. That's the lower animal soul. And the upper 20, the Kodesh Kodeshim, is the godly soul. And it's funny, the Kodesh Kodeshim, that's kuf, and below is only a kuf, a holy. And the three are Kodesh, kuf. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. I don't know if ever wrote. It's what the angel said. Kadosh, kadosh, kadosh. And that includes the three. So whole and a half of the 40 is 60, and that's the total. And the half is special. That's the Kodesh Kodeshim. And this strange word is a paroket. That's the curtain that separates the holy to the Holy of Holies. That has a beautiful gematria of when you paroket, Pei Resh Vav Kaf Tov. That's 706 plus the 5 letters. That's 711. That's Ain. And when you spell it fully out with a resh as of 510, you get 1,1109 plus 11 letters. That's 1,120. That's Aleph, 1,000, and Samak, fully spelt out, 120. So it's Aleph Samak. That's Ein Sof. And so what we have here is that separation of the paroket between the holy and holies is a curtain. And I remember my brother hiding behind the curtain as a child. Oh. I've paid the price for this. This is a level of consciousness that few people have and relate. but I've paid the price for it.